Hello, guys. I am at Agra for a chess tournament. And in this video, I'm going to show you a few glimpses of Agra, especially the Taj Mahal, and also a couple of my games. So, first things first, how can we visit how can we visit Agra and not visit Taj Mahal? Yeah. So, it's a beautiful thing to witness. And we spend our first day in Agra visiting the Taj Mahal. Now coming to more important stuff. In the Italian game, which is basically e4, e5, knight out, bishop out, knight f6. After d3, bishop out, c3, d6, castles, all normal stuff. This much is pretty standard, right? A lot of players, some people either play knight c3 or a3, and some players play c3. So here there is an idea which I used to play in blitz and in rapid chess, g5. And initially, for a few years, I completely rejected this because I had a few tough losses in this line. But now, in last few games, last few tournaments, this has become actually, I've come to understand this is something useful in especially 30-minute games or rapid games. So the thing is, the computer doesn't hate this move. It's computer's second best move in this line, even with knight c3, which we are going to see in the third game. So this was my first round game today against a 1-4-8-4, and this position appeared on the board. And here I played g5, and my opponent didn't react with knight h2, which is what most players do against this g4 threat. He played d4, which is also pretty good. Like it's two different approaches. This is to stop g4, which you'll see later, and this is basically ignoring g4 and saying, I've got the sender, you've got to heed what's happening in the sender. So I took, now I realize, thanks to the computer, that the correct move here is just moving back. And then takes. It seems kind of bad, but it's actually good for black because f2 is under heavy pressure. But yeah, in the game, I played takes. He took back and bishop back, e5, takes. And if he takes back, I go to an end game, sort of, and I'm okay. I'll take my chances there. This is a little kid, like 10-year-old kid I'm playing against. So they generally don't want to exchange queens. Anyway, knight e7. And now it's clearly better for black because it's a pawn up. He takes, I take, and the knight is slightly under pressure, and f7 pawn is also under attack, but I've got c6. The knight's pinned, but it's fine. c6, and after a few moves, I don't want to bore you with all the details, but you can pause and think on your own in between if you'd like. Now the position is just good for me because the pawn is creating problems. Takes, and here I had a long thing and played bishop c7. And he played bishop f4, which I expected, which is why I thought long. And my initial calculation was to play king h7, which is not bad in itself. But after knight takes pawn, it gets complicated because if rook takes, there's still bishop takes. So bishop f5, getting out of the problem. And now if knight takes, then I would just take the rook first. Yeah, it would still be winning for me. So he went back, and now it's over after king itself. He lost on time here, actually. It's a 30-minute game with 30 seconds increment. And he lost on time just before playing, I believe, bishop somewhere. or knight somewhere. I don't remember. Now the funny thing is in the third round, I'll show you the second round game afterwards. Third round, I had a similar choice. After the Italian, which my opponent played, this is a slightly stronger opponent, 1618 rated opponent. My rating is 1749. Pretty rating that. So bishop c4, knight, bishop c5, everything copied. And now he castled, unaware of my evil intentions, which was to play g5. So here it's with knight on c3, which I've come to understand is a totally different thing because now d4 is no longer there, but the knight can jump in some at some point of the game, and that can be helpful for white. But here he made a big mistake, which I didn't expect from a 1618. He just played bishop e3, allowing g4, and now after takes, he played rook e1. I played rook g8. He played king f1. This position has to be good for black. I knew it. I just had to find the right way to continue. Bishop h5, I'm not proud of, but I wanted to play knight g4, which I now realize is not a great idea. The idea was to play knight h2, but the queen can just move after knight g4. So thankfully, he took on d5. And now knight e2, which is a mistake because it allows this queen d7 threatening queen h3. He stops it. And here I took a long thing, like more than 10, I think 15 minutes thing. I had like 30 plus minutes till, what do you say, g4 till this point. I had more than 30 minutes because I was playing very fast. And then here I thought a little bit, and then here I took a long thing after knight g1. I thought of rook takes knight, but again, it's a complicated line. I'll just show you what happened. Knight d4, inviting c3, and then going knight h5. If he takes, then I have evil intentions, knight f4. And the threat is rook takes knight, which is heavy. So he, realizing the gravity of the situation, played f4. I just happily take the pawn. I'm down to like 6-7 minutes now. And then rook e3, knight comes back. He plays knight e2, and so he dealt with the first blow like first attack. But then, as it so often happens, all the energy and the focus is purely given on the first attack, and then when the second one comes, you tend to like completely crumble, and that's what happened. Queen takes, and the position is just too good. Here, I had to just find the finish, which was right here. He played rook f1 because he cannot move to d2 anyway. Rook takes pawn. So he played rook f1 and then it just checkmate in one, queen e3, checkmate. This was third round. So the line that I'm showing you is possible in Italian. After bishop c4, you play knight f6, and then against d3, or let me take you to the first one. So basically, after bishop c5, he can play d3, he can play knight c3, he can play c3. It doesn't matter. You develop a bishop, and then if this is possible only after opponent plays h3. If opponent doesn't play h3 and waits, then you can't go g5, g4. It's too slow. I mean, I've seen players do it, but it's too slow. You need that hook on g4 to be ideal. So only when the opponent plays h3 after castling, then this idea is possible. It's a very surprising idea, which throws off a lot of players. The correct thing to do here is actually knight h2. And now I play g4. Engine likes it actually. I like Lich's engine. So he takes and then we get back the pawn. This is complicated, but you get back the pawn. It's engine approved. So why should I not play this in actual games? Yeah, it gives very interesting games. Now coming to the second round, this was against a 1-5-7-3. I'll play through the game quickly and take you to the critical moment. It was a Rui Lopez. Lot of theory. Again, you can pause anytime. Even knight b8, which I'm not very familiar with. We have typical knight maneuver, and he stops the knight from coming to f5. And this was a slight mistake. I should have come back to d2. This allows this. I can't take with the pawn because this pawn hangs. So unfortunately, I will take with the bishop and then c5, and black is taking over. Here I played knight h2, and here he stumbled a little bit. The most natural thing here would be knight e5, but even knight d6, and now queen c1, kind of threatening or intending f4. h5, stopping knight g4. And yeah, knight g4 was also in the air because h6 would hang. So h5, knight comes back, knight comes to c4, b3, knight e5. takes, and queen. So I'm trying to bring my knight back into activity like this. I was wondering if he is going to play f5. Is that why he played queen here? But no, he just played on the queen side, the wrong side, but position is still good for him. I had a choice here to take. I wonder if this is good for white. No, it's bad for white. I was thinking of bishop d3 and putting the bishop on c4. The Indian really hates it. Queen f6, bishop c4, what's the problem? His bishop also becomes active. Okay. So anyway, I played c4, rook d4, knight e3, queen e6, knight d5. Now the game becomes intense. I took rook f1. Here I wanted to play pawn takes pawn, but then his pawns become a real force. And bishop takes knight, this is a slight annoyance. I can't take with the desired pawn takes d5. I'll have to take with the c pawn, which will break my pawn structure because of this pin. So in time pressure, we are both down to less than a minute here. Rook f1, and he takes. Again, here I almost played rook a1, which is a blunder, loses on the spot. So bishop d3 first. He can't play rook a8. He can't take control of the a file because of knight c7. So he needs to take time. Now I played this. He challenges it, but the queen comes in. And here there is a very nice move for black, which both of us completely missed. Rook a3. With more time, he might have found it. It's a very nice move that I also had to understand now. Like for the future, that is. Rook a3 is a nice idea. The point being, after takes, the knight and queen are completely tied down, helpless against this pawn, and black is the double bishop. So he didn't play that. He played rook a6, and I played g3, preparing f4. Queen moves back and takes, and I go in with the a5. Here he took and then defended the pawn. I played f4, and here he played g5. h4 would have given him a chance. Okay, g5, e5, and after h4, because if he takes here, I believe that should just be good for me. Queen to c1, c8, that is king g2, and it's just good. So he goes h4, d6, and here I'm feeling good, and I played g4, and now suddenly, even though I get in with my queen, I took the second pawn, giving up the piece. I get the second queen, but the king is not able to handle things alone. He can do a repetition. And here I blundered the f pawn unnecessarily. I realized there's only a draw here, so I should have just come back. But okay, it still is a draw. He can only repeat. But this was a big mistake. He should have played queen to d3 or f3 or any normal check or f4. But instead he went here, and now there's only one other check. This square is not available. And after king g1, no checks. There's just no checks, and the pawn is going to promote. And he just took the pawn, and it's a painful end for him. He resigned it because king g6, it's mate. So that was how the day went, 3 out of 3, which is a good start. And just 8 hours to go before the second day starts. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.